Welcome back to Ultiworld's continued live coverage of the USA Ultimate D1 College National Championships. We've got a rematch of the 2017 College National title game between Dartmouth and Texas. Katie, when this one was on the schedule early, it seemed real exciting. Unfortunately, pool play results have made it not quite as exciting. Dartmouth already locked up the pool. Texas already out of the bracket. But what are you looking forward to seeing in this one?
I'm hoping to see some big plays, honestly. With the stakes of this game being much lower than we anticipated, I'm just hoping to see some good ultimate. We are hoping that Dartmouth doesn't completely rest their starters and we can see a little bit more of the Versu, Lee, Trope, Tornquist magic. I hope that's the case. I hope we can see some big plays in this game. The field is hot. I'm hoping to see some hot play as well.
Dartmouth looked absolutely dominant against Carleton yesterday, upsetting the top seed in the pool by a score of 15-5. Katie, did we underestimate Dartmouth coming into this weekend?
I don't think it's possible to underestimate Dartmouth at this point, but I think there were questions about their depth coming into this weekend and whether they would be able to successfully run their game through their top 4 players. What we saw yesterday answered that question. The answer is yes. And so I would not be surprised if today we did not see a lot of those top 4 starters beyond some of the early points. Looks like we do have Versu out there for this opening point for Dartmouth, as well as Ritterband and Pizzo and Trope. So it's a familiar starting line for Dartmouth out here.
Caitlin Lee as well. So 3 of the biggest stars in the division all on the line together for Dartmouth to start here on defense. You see Texas in black starting on offense, going from left to right. And at Texas on the near sideline, Summer Wilson with the disc for Melee. Going to the air right away, and that's knocked down to the turf by Lee. Dartmouth with an early D-line possession. Disc in the middle of the field.
Not much movement happening so far beyond the backfield.
Nice catch from Lee, and then she tries to find Trope. But that one low to the ground, and Trope looking a little banged up, coming up empty on that catch. Dom Sutherland picking up for Texas. And she turns it right back over.
Several turns in this first point, which actually has been the trend in a lot of these games so far. Even though both of these teams have played quite a few games at this point. First point is you're testing out another team, trying to see which shots work, and particularly on this field that Texas has not played on yet, the wind is a little different than it is in the rest of the field, the rest of the complex.
Yeah, it has been windy out here, and that has led to some long points, and when the points start to get long, kind of compounds on itself as players become more tired and commit those tired turnovers. You see perhaps another one there as Texas taking back over with a short field. It's Caroline O'Connell with a disc. She swings it to Sierra Jensen. Back to Sutherland, who stoops low for that catch, and now she's looking for O'Connell in the end zone, and O'Connell, an impressive catch for the Texas score. They commit a few turnovers, but they do start with the hold.
A nice grab there in the wind from O'Connell. Those one-handed catches can be risky. Sometimes the wind will take that out of your hand harder than anticipated. You see here Dom again throwing that nice flick. Longtime teammate O'Connell for hold to open this game up.
Nice throw into space from Sutherland. Certainly one of the big throwers in the division.
O'Connell stepping up into the shoes of former Texas player Laura Gerenser as a very tall handler for this Melee team. They've had a lot of height on their team the past 3 or 4 years. O'Connell is almost the last of that generation of tall Melee players.
Certainly at least on the roster for the moment. You never know who they're going to pull in for a recruiting class.
That's true, that's true. Looking at the current D-line that Texas has out there, I would guess at an average height of 5'3", 5'4", so maybe their recruiting next year is exclusively basketball players.
Wouldn't hurt. It'll be interesting to see how they try to match up with Jack Verju.
Speaking of height, Jack 6'1" on this Dartmouth line.
And just as dominant a force as this division has ever seen. And Verju looked in spectacular form yesterday for Dartmouth. But there they are beaten to the disc underneath. Great run through block to steal it away. Carolina Bayonne stealing it for Texas. They have an early break chance. Oh, and that throw pops up for Sutherland, trying to hit Bayonne, but you saw how fired up Melee was to get that block.
Bayonne excited about getting that block. Maybe a little surprised. Hopefully they'll use that energy.
And Lee looking for Verjou downfield, but that's too far. And it looks like Melee has elected to put Sutherland on Verjou.
Sutherland looking deep again.
Yeah, looking downfield, easily intercepted by Verjou, though. They're always going to have the advantage in those spaces.
We talked in the Dartmouth game yesterday about how teams were hesitating to shoot deep with Verjou in that deep space. Dom Sutherland, not a player who ever hesitates to shoot deep.
No one there. A shot deep from rookie Caroline Tornquist hitting Verjou for the Dartmouth score. So a couple of early turnovers for Dartmouth, but they do get the hold.
That looked like some pretty easy offense there for Dartmouth. Walking in that goal, and it has to be said, it feels like they have played significantly fewer points than most teams so far in pool play.
See Verjou attacking that disc and then getting the bookends.
Verjou with just yards of separation. They don't have to do much to bring in that goal.
Something that often gets overlooked with Verjou is how great of a teammate they are. They've been hyper talented and one of the bright stars of the division ever since they entered the division as a rookie, but has also been a real leader. And Katie, I know you talked about this a bit last year, but almost had a coaching role for the team too. Has done so much to help develop this team and some of their role players as some of their star teammates have graduated and left the program.
Yeah, I think sports media coverage of Jack Verjou loves to make them as this individual star, when in reality, they are 100% a team builder. They are team-oriented, and what they get most out of the game is helping build the team up rather than their own performance.
Ooh, nearly a turnover from Melee, but it is caught by Summer Wilson.
Speaking of team building, Dartmouth running a similar zone defense to what they ran yesterday on Carleton. And has to be said, the full Dartmouth defense plays excellent zone defense and are really able to run long points in that cup to contain teams like Texas.
That defense did get a turnover, but it's given right back. Improved field position as a result of that exchange for Texas. O'Connell looking downfield in the big bid, comes up empty from Ivy Harrison. Certainly capable of the big flashy play as Harrison, but not able to get to that one.
Harrison is so quick, I'm surprised she didn't just run that one out.
So quick and so explosive as well. But Dartmouth looking to come back the other way. A bit of a line drive throw there for Trope. Behind the cutter downfield as well. So Texas will take back over, and O'Connell looking to go right back the other way. And again, just out of the reach of Harrison.
So close on some of these shots. And again, I think some of these slight miscues for Texas come from the fact that the wind and the heat are a little different on this field. They haven't played in this exact condition yet. And once you get used to playing and competing a pool play on the grass fields that have a little bit more intense wind and a different feel to it, I think it can take some calibration here.
Dartmouth with possession once again. This play comes to a stoppage as a pick is called downfield. Disc in the hands of Hannah Marr for Dartmouth. Disc back in play. Not for long, though. We have another call.
What signal is that?
A lot of discussion in this vertical stack. Sort of a crooked vertical stack.
See the players scattered all across the field, really. Not much structure at the moment.
She was.
Okay.
And so it would, contested pick is the same, so she would.
Okay.
So are y'all?
Be able to hear that as a contested pick call is the dilemma. Called by Tornquist for Dartmouth. Now we're back underway. Tornquist winning that under. Tornquist to Trope further downfield. Trope down the line, big bid from Marr, not quite able to get there. But we've seen the high flying bids from both sides on this point. Harrison across the field to Jensen. Shannon Ray with the disc for Melee. Stall has to be getting high. And it looks like that is going to be a stall. Ray unable to ever get a throw off. At a certain point, you'd think she would at least punt it there, but none of her teammates able to get open.
Yeah, some frustrating movement there for Texas. Just trying to get a hold on the books here.
And Trope goes up for that one, can't quite get there, and a bid also coming up empty.
Nice movement there from Alston trying to save that possession. Another rookie on this Dartmouth team who I believe has been a little overshadowed by just how excellent Tornquist is. But I think will be part of the next generation of what Dartmouth looks like and their excellence.
And listeners hoping maybe for a regime change in the division might not like to hear about this bright crop of freshmen that Dartmouth has, but they will certainly play a big impact as Dartmouth looks to go for a third straight national title. Trope with an excellent throw down the line, hitting her cutter downfield in stride. That one gets caught up in the window and intercepted. See Summer Wilson elevating to snatch that one away.
Confusion downfield for Texas, but saved there.
O'Connell not her intended target, but Amberly Malone in the right place at the right time. But Melee does turn it over a couple of throws later. Both offenses lacking that little bit of execution needed to punch in a score. See Pizzo picking up for Dartmouth. Bringing number 17, that was made famous by Angela Zhu at Dartmouth, a member of their first national title. Katie, this is something I like to talk about. In a lot of sports, you see player number is getting retired as we see another turnover from Dartmouth. Do you think that Ultimate should maybe have retired numbers? Angela Zhu feels like a prime candidate for that if it ever gets implemented.
I actually like the tradition of passing those numbers on intentionally. I think that's a much cooler tradition than no one can ever have number 17 again.
Sure.
Not to mention, there are a lot of other excellent players in the division who are also 17. Maddie Gilbert, also 17 on Western Washington, and one of their star players.
Absolutely. 17, good number. So Pizzo, maybe the next bright number 17 out there.
It's possible we will see this point. If Pizzo and the rest of this Dartmouth team can advance past their goal line to try to get a break here.
That one up in the air. And Claire Trope somehow making that catch at her shoelaces, but then popping up and the huck turns over and ends up on the ground eventually.
An exciting catch there, and then I would say an excitable throw. Texas now with 70 to go. O'Connell picking up in the corner. It's 1-1, and this is already a long point in the sun. Even if a team like Dartmouth wants to rest their starters.
And that one knocked down by Trope, but collision with a teammate on the play.
That's a foul right there.
It looked like it was Erica Ng who collided with Trope, and she'll come off the field injured. Hopefully she's okay. She's walking off on her own power, so hopefully that's a good sign.
Jack coming on for Ng. Pinch hitting as they try to punch in this break.
Not a bad player to bring on in this situation. Being able to bring on Jack Verjou here in the red zone.
I'd take it.
I think Literally any team in the division would as well, Katie. Oh, it looks like it'll actually be disc back in the hands of Texas, maybe a foul on the throw. Connell hits Sutherland to get it off the sideline. Sutherland looking to flip the field with a big forehand, no one down there to make the catch.
You know, shooter's got to shoot, Dan, and this point needs to go on a little bit longer. Dartmouth attempting to break once more.
Berger with a nice snag. They hit Trope underneath. Trope looking to air it out. And that one floats just long enough for Tornquist to run onto.
A nice catch there from Tornquist on another fairly bladey huck from Trope. Some discussion on the field.
And Tornquist looked a little frustrated with this stoppage. Not sure exactly what the discussion is here. Again, players kind of jumbled up on your screen. Disc in the hands of Verju, and we're back live.
Verju with big fakes, moving their mark there.
Little give and go. And play stops once again. Verzu directing their teammates down near here at the end zone.
Two rookies there looking in isolation, Alston and Tornquist. Now just Tornquist. Alston's back resetting.
Verzu gets it right back, and then to Tornquist in the end zone. Dartmouth claims the first break of the game.
I feel like a broken record, Dan, but every time we see these teams change their point of attack and not continually try to stuff it down the open side, we see moments like this happen where Jack has a much easier option there after they've reset and changed where they're attacking.
So a long point for Dartmouth, but they do get the break between points here. We'd like to remind you that our live streaming coverage of the college championships is brought to you in part by Oak Creek Ultimate. From full sub jerseys to screen print t-shirts, there is no type of decoration or product that Oak Creek doesn't offer. Don't have time to collect orders? Let Oak Creek build your group a team store and let them do the work for you. Reach out to them at sales@oakcreekultimate.com and get your order started today. Long points have been a theme today and really all weekend long. They're especially painful when you get broken at the end of them. So we'll see how Texas is able to respond, now having to work offensively up into the wind.
Interestingly, we've seen the quicker games that are happening when teams have to play back-to-back games. Going into that second game, like we saw yesterday in the men's division with Pitt coming off a close game to then lose to Victoria, playing these back-to-back games in this heat makes those games go faster because those tired teams can't afford to slog in those long points.
It has been tough coping with the heat out here for many of these teams.
We'll see this Dartmouth zone yet again. This zone intended to slow down teams. You're not going to slow down Dom Sutherland.
She's going to try her best to power her way through anyway. She goes too long looking for Emma Berrigan on that throw. And Katie, you said, I think described Sutherland as a shooter. I don't think that there's anyone in Women's College Ultimate that better fits that bill than Sutherland. See Verju, that disc trailing back in bounds just, but still too far out of reach for their intended target downfield.
An incredible huck to have that come back in bounds.
Definitely made a big difference in field position.
Nice position there from Berrigan.
Finding that space right on the sideline. Then the throw back to the middle of the field. Ends up on the ground for another turnover. Texas offense showing struggles early. Caitlin Lee with the disc for Dartmouth.
Lee also not seeing a lot of options, so going to her favorite reset.
Well, if you can reset it 50 yards downfield to Jack Verjus, why not? Verjus elevates and makes a great catch to put Dartmouth in scoring territory, and they dink it to the end zone for another Dartmouth break.
Verjus, just the Rosebud cheat code downfield there. You'll see Jack behind the disc when the team needs them to be there, but whenever you see Lee struggling like here, Lee's looking upfield, and there Jack is ready to make a play like that. Verjus, yet again, just incredible hands. An easy pass into the end zone here for another break for Dartmouth, and that's 3-1 with no real compelling red zone chances for Texas so far.
So Verjus with a great grab, but it was Caitlin Lee unwinding on the throw. And Lee is our spin ultimate player to watch for this Dartmouth side. She's a two-time club silver medalist with Boston Brute Squad. 2 points away total from that being 2 gold medals. Brute Squad has lost on universe point each of the last 2 seasons. She was recently selected to the U24 U.S. Women's National Team. One of the more accomplished players the division has seen in recent years, Caitlin Lee. I think sometimes she gets a little overlooked on this Dartmouth roster. Led the division in goals at Nationals a year ago, though.
Yeah, Lee is one of those handlers who's so fun to watch because she's so fast. She's one of the speedy handlers where you're watching her footwork almost as much as you're watching those throws.
Yeah, very talented player, and that's why she is our spin player to watch. This live broadcast of the USA Ultimate National College Championships is brought to you by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit them on the web at spinultimate.com. We see a big throw downfield, but that's well out the back of the end zone. Trope was the closest one anyway. We see another Texas turnover.
Sutherland fearlessly hucking for position here, perhaps hoping to get the turn closer to their end zone. Sutherland not trying to mess with that big Dartmouth trap zone they were trying to set on her.
Trope, that one floating and able to be run onto by Tornquist. Tornquist understandably aggravated with Sutherland on that foul from behind. I don't think that was the throw that Trope was going for, but it floated well enough, and Tornquist was able to adjust and run onto it and gain a few extra yards as a result. And a great around throw from Tornquist, and Lee elevates to make the catch under pressure. Dartmouth looking for another break here on a tough throw from Lee.
Mark can't quite land that. Another huck here from Sutherland.
Yeah, Sutherland going big again. But again, no one really very close to that one.
Dan, do you think we're going to see a lot more of that pattern? Rinse and repeat throughout the rest of this game?
It certainly seems to be developing that way. And Texas, often plays that way. Sutherland takes some criticism for her turnovers sometimes, but I do think it's generally a strategic choice for Texas. They just don't have a whole lot of players for their offense to be built around meticulous, slowly matriculating the disc down the field. And they're content more often than not to play the field position game. Against a team like Dartmouth, again, that can come back to bite you with so much talent to break you the other way. But hopefully for Texas, Sutherland will be able to reel in some of those shots. She's looking to the end zone here, and that one off the fingertips of her intended target.
You can see watching Texas's stack downfield, no one's moving while Sutherland has the disc, and then the moment she releases another huck, they're expecting it, and that's when everybody activates. It really is a very, very handler-activated offense, and by handler-activated, I mean Sutherland-activated offense.
Very much so. Sutherland on the mark on Tornquist there, but Tornquist able to center it to Lee. Lee looking for Trope, a couple of defenders in the area, but Trope gets it up over both of them, and now looking for Tornquist downfield wide open. Dartmouth threatening again, looking for another break. A little scoop back to Marr and the swing to Lee. Right back to Marr and Lee, cutting strike.
That quickness we were talking about, more quickness. Easy goal there for Dartmouth. Yet again.
Yeah, the Lee to Trope combo, not too bad.
Speed times speeds times speed. We talked before this game started about whether or not Dartmouth would rest some of those players in this game, knowing that they had the pool secured, and we haven't seen that to be the case so far.
No, the big stars have been out there the whole way, maybe feeling like it's best for the team if they just go out there and quickly win this one, rather than letting the game draw on and wear out some of their depth players. And it looks like we are in level 1 heat advisory, as now that Dartmouth has 4 points, we will take a heat break to make sure these players are safe out on the field. So Dartmouth with a strong start, getting to this heat team out early. And with the players taking a break, we will do the same. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
Every time we cut the license, we play better. Let's go take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Welcome back. Get a good look at the crowd here for this game between Dartmouth and Texas, as Pool D in its final round of action here on Saturday in Round Rock at the College National Championships. Always my favorite weekend of the ultimate season. And you see the home team at Texas Melee being supported by the men's team at Texas, Texas Tough. Minus some shade, unfortunately for Texas. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about so far in this game. Dartmouth up a few breaks as their top end talent of superstars has been too much for Texas to handle.
Melee returning to the field and hoping to give their fans, their hometown fans, something to cheer about. See a Texas offensive line without Domenica Sutherland. Give her a rest.
And Texas now with the tough task ahead of trying to hold upwind. It'll be Verjou on the pole. And that pole looked like it was headed out of bounds, but caught on the sideline by Jensen.
O'Connell with a nice look through their zone, not giving Dartmouth the chance to set.
And Texas working quickly. Back in the hands of O'Connell. She swings it to Jensen.
Excellent movement here from Texas.
Wilson back to Jensen. Jensen, a graduate transfer from Utah. It's been a nice addition to the Texas backfield this season. And a late bid to try to save that one from Jasmine Anand with the disc out of bounds. And Verjou stretching the disc downfield. Swatted away, though, by Summer Wilson. Able to take back over.
It's a beautiful throw there from Versu, but a nice heads-up block. Texas trying to push the pace here again. Swinging around and through this cup. You can see, unlike Carleton yesterday in the same zone, Texas is keeping a lot of nice spacing downfield, really letting their cutters get some movement.
Harrison looking for a non-deep. That backhand turned over more than she was looking for. Anand never able to get near it. And now Dartmouth attacking downfield once again. Nice forehand from Pizzo to find her teammate Emma Bushman. Versu swinging to the middle to Marr. Continue looking for Pizzo though, off her hands. So another turnover-riddled point between the Texas offense and the Dartmouth defense. See once again an offensive miscue from Texas Melee. Versu picking up and looking downfield right away. Big backhand downfield, floating, but not able to get there is Pizzo.
Just jaw-dropping throws again and again. I think I could just watch Versu play flyers up with the rest of this team, going into that end zone over and over again, just to take some lessons on throwing.
Yeah, Versu obviously a great athlete and makes their impact felt in the game in that way very often, but just a stellar thrower too, and we've seen that already throughout this game. I think Versu also got a point block to earn the disc back for their teammates. And Versu again going to the end zone with a big bendy backhand.
Oh, and their receiver falls before they have a chance to make a play on that disc, but so close.
Bushman doing her best to get to that one. Texas offense trying to find any sort of rhythm right now. Has not been the start that they were looking for.
You know, when they first came out and got close to the end zone, you could tell that's what they hoped would be a quick offensive point for them. It's not going to be the case. I've got to say, you can tell the stakes of this game because Texas has been playing fairly open lines, really getting their freshmen and sophomores quite a few reps in these points.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, Katie, as we mentioned, that their tournament as far as trying to win a national title is over. They are ineligible from advancing beyond the pool play, already having 2 losses. They cannot finish better than 4th. So why not use the opportunity to get some of those younger players who will be back next year. Crucial experience against such a talented team. Versu just missing out on that layout block. Texas knocking on the door. O'Connell push it to the sideline to Jensen, calling for it right back, but Jensen looks her off. And now to the middle, and it's swatted down to the ground by Ng. Texas getting trapped on that sideline. So tantalizingly close to the end zone, but coming up short once again. Nice defense deep from Malone, but there is a foul call.
Fans not a fan of that call. It's a very good heads-up block there.
Yeah, definitely a pro-Texas crowd out there.
There's a small yet mighty group of Dartmouth parents and fans. They're here. I've seen them.
I was using this. I felt your hand before I could.
My body did hit you when I went up. I just don't think you had a play on it. Because I don't think I prevented you from doing this with my body.
You heard from the players discussing it. Amberly Malone saying, yes, there may have been contact, but I don't think you could have caught the disc. Regardless.
But if I felt full body contact and extension, I don't quite know how full I could have extended.
So it's up for you
to determine if you think you had a play on the disc or not.
I think I had a play on the disc.
Okay. So you're not retracting your foul call?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, can you give us 1 second?
Sure.
Thank you.
So the observers will discuss amongst themselves. We've heard both sides from the 2 players. The observers trying to figure out exactly how they want to call this one.
It's always a tough call there when the defender acknowledges contact.
We do feel like she had a play on the disc, okay? So it was a foul, okay? Cool. So we're going to keep it.
And there you heard the ruling from the observer, ruling that Ing did have a play on the disc when contact occurred, so Dartmouth will maintain possession. The crowd once again voicing their displeasure with that ruling.
And looking for a reset here. Tough defense there from Texas, particularly O'Connell on Marr.
On a low one, Verzu able to dig it. Stahl getting up there, Verzu going downfield. Ing gets turned around and unable to make the catch.
It's notable that for Dartmouth, beyond Verzu, there are not a lot of other core go-to cutters or players here for Dartmouth on this line, so you can see a lot of their cutters working hard and trying to get open downfield, but Texas defenders doing a great job of staying in step with them and not giving any options for Dartmouth.
Yeah, no Trope, Lee, or Tornquist out there at the moment for Dartmouth. See this disc getting caught up in the air, and O'Connell goes up, the tallest player in the pack, making the catch. Looks like she may have taken a cleat or something on the way back down. She seems to be all right and taps the disc back into play. That disc off the hands, pops up in the air, and it's another turnover from Texas.
And that's the kind of turnover this Dartmouth zone is hoping for. Right at the goal line, exert very little effort to hopefully punch in another break.
Marr to the end zone and a sliding grab for the score. So Dartmouth adds to their break tally. Nice catch from Ritterband.
This point's taking longer than I think either team is hoping for in this heat. It's very hot out there on the turf, as we said before. It's heat level 1. And unlike yesterday, we have much less of the cloud cover we enjoyed all of yesterday and this morning.
Take another look at that sliding grab from Ritterband. So Dartmouth winning this war of attrition so far.
Slog of attrition. Very
Yes.
hot, windy slog of attrition.
I'd say I'm glad to be under cover of shade here commentating this game with you, Katie, rather than out on the turf. Texas wearing an all-black kit can't make it any easier.
They should be used to this heat.
Certainly practicing all year long down here in the area in nearby Austin. But now Dartmouth, after getting another break, now gets to send. There's like Caitlin Lee right back out. Not going to get any easier for Texas.
This Texas team, they like to shoot and shoot often, are going to make some of these points longer for themselves than they wanted, particularly with Sutherland behind the disc.
They'll certainly be looking for a more efficient attack. They don't necessarily have to get away from the Hawks entirely, but they certainly want to connect on a few more than they have early in this game.
Wood and Sutherland in the backfield there. Showdown teammates in the club season.
Nice catch by Hannah DeVoe to save possession. But that one easily intercepted underneath. Katia Krupa throwing into traffic, and Dartmouth is able to take over. Caitlin Lee with a disc. Sutherland stepping in front of that one. Lee looking for Jennifer Kion. Now the disc with Texas in the hands of Bryan. She gives it right back to Sutherland. Oh, Cameron Wood with the disc. Krupa now back to Sutherland.
Sutherland with a great deep shot.
Big forehand to Berrigan. Nice catch by Berrigan in the back of the end zone and able to stay in bounds. So Texas finally able to connect on one of those hooks.
Oh, and there may be some discussion here. And it is a goal. It comes back. Sutherland to Berrigan. Two very similar looking players. Sutherland often joking in the past 2 seasons that Berrigan's been on the team, that Berrigan's her mini-me. And certainly many people watching Texas will get these two players confused. But make no mistake, Berrigan is dangerous in the deep space.
Yeah, great cutter for this melee team, and Sutherland, the top thrower in the division, and she is melee's spin player to watch. Started playing Ultimate in 2011 in the Triangle area. Graduated this weekend from Texas with a degree in exercise science. And I think this is probably her proudest accolade, a 2018 Sin the Fields All-Star.
Sutherland takes that accolade very seriously, and since being awarded that title has actively worked to continue to earn it every year and remind new STF All-Stars of what that entails, including shooting far and often.
Certainly a very fun player, one of the most fun personalities in the division, and that's why she is our spin player to watch. This live broadcast of the USA Ultimate National College Championships is brought to you by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. You'll see Sutherland on the pull here, going right back out there on defense. And a sliding stop to stop the roll of the pull by Pizzo. Caitlin Lee holding it for Dartmouth, looking for the reset. Comes to Verju.
Verju starting downfield and then recognizing the zone has come back into the backfield to join Lee and Pizzo.
Quick give and goes between Alston and Lee. Back to Pizzo, back to Lee. Oh, and Lee a little too casual, and Alston a big bid. Nice attempt to try to save that one, but it is a turnover from Lee.
Sutherland seeing Berrigan again. Wide open downfield, but that huck can't quite connect. Dartmouth will have another chance.
Verzu picking up after Texas is wasteful with the break opportunity. And Verzu unleashing a big backhand of their own downfield, and awkward for Harrison, but maybe did just enough to prevent the catch downfield. O'Connell holding this for Texas. Sutherland elects to catch it later than her initial opportunity. Now she rips a big backhand into the end zone. Two melee teammates in the area, and the confusion leads to a drop.
What a crushing defense, being denied by your own teammate on the doorstep of this break.
They do get it right back, though. Texas looking to get one of these breaks back. Again, collision from Texas teammates downfield. Berrigan going up. Verju always has the advantage in that matchup. They swat it away.
Dan, you can feel the pace of this point escalating. Both teams feeling a little bit more frantic on the field. A lot more vocal sideline talk as both teams are anxious to get this point. First with a huge huck to coverage.
Taking advantage of the lack of a mark, but it's intercepted by Harrison downfield. Malone catching that one on the sideline. Sutherland cutting strike, getting power position, looking downfield again. Verzu in the area again, and going up over Sonia Stojcic for another block from Verzu.
Dan, it's possible that Texas handlers have thrown to Dartmouth receivers and Dartmouth handlers have thrown to Texas receivers more than these teams have actually connected with themselves.
It certainly has felt that way, at least on this point. You see another turnover from Dartmouth in the handler space. Sutherland picks up and calls a timeout.
That's what we call a veteran call in the game.
So Texas on the other side of the timeout will be looking for a break, and this timeout is brought to you by Disc Store. Disc Store sells more than discs. For live viewers only, get your next custom full sub-team jerseys for just $30 each with the promo code Ultiworld. Email jerseys at discstore.com to receive the exclusive offer. That offer expires on May 31st. So yet another back and forth point. That has been the norm so far in this one. Texas desperately needing a break to try to get back into this one. They've not had a better opportunity than they've had on these last few possessions at this point.
Just 10 yards outside the end zone. We'll see a different style of Texas offense here.
It'll be Sutherland on the disc with O'Connell with her in the backfield. So too is Cameron Wood.
It's a very old defensive line here for Texas, mostly seniors, with the exception of Berrigan and Sonia Stochik.
Defense getting set for Dartmouth. Sutherland making sure everyone is where they're supposed to be. And Tornquist taps it back into play. Great initial defense from Dartmouth, but Ivy Harrison finally able to work her way to that front corner. O'Connell finds her. Texas gets their first break of the game.
Excellent catch there from Harrison. Under pressure with a lot on the line, and a beautiful break from O'Connell. Texas is excited, and with good reason. They've still got some points to go, but that break was something they've been missing so far this game.
Take another look. Great throw from O'Connell to get around the mark.
And yet stay in bounds.
Very tough throw, especially in these conditions. Getting the upwind break. So Texas with a little bit of glimmer of hope as they get that break to get back within 2, and now they'll have a downwind opportunity to get another one back. And credit to Texas, it wasn't always pretty, but they kept plugging away as Dartmouth was unable to get anything going offensively with all their chances.
Sutherland coming out for another defensive point, but we'll also see Versu on the line yet again for Dartmouth. Versu and Trope helming this offensive line for Dartmouth.
It'll be Sutherland on the pole once Melee is ready. And here it comes. Big downwind pull. Versu goes to the turf to stop the roll. Oh, an incredible catch by Versu. Sticking out a hand to snare that one, and now Dartmouth approaching midfield through Trope. Trope going down the line, looking for Versu, and a big layout catch by Jack Versu has Dartmouth knocking on the door, and they're a clean hold.
Wow.
Versu showing exactly what they're made of on that play.
Those plays just almost stop being surprising when they're able to make them every time. You watch Trope put that disc out there, you think that's a little far, and then you realize that it's Versu going for this, and you just know that they're going to grab it, and they do with 2 hands no less, before having a little boop of an assist there. Dartmouth making that hold look effortless.
They really do make so many aspects of the game look so easy. You see what it means to them there.
I think Versu's celebration so far in this game is one of my favorite parts of this.
And Katie, you described that pass as a boop. I'd like to make a motion to add that to the Ultiworld style guide.
I have a feeling our editors will make a quick motion to put it on the no-fly list, along with a lot of other overused terms in Ultimate. That one not overused, but it's just going to get a quick kill.
I don't know. I'm strongly considering adding it to my commentary lexicon. I like the sound of it. But either way, a clean hold for Dartmouth. We've not been able to say that many times in this game. Now a big pull from Caitlin Lee.
Beautiful pull there. We're seeing it again. Lee and Trope on a line together, while Versu manages the other line for Dartmouth. But a similar zone on these Texas handlers.
Texas moving the disc quickly. That one gets away from O'Connell a bit, though, looking for Wilson. And so Dartmouth D-line will take over. Lee picks up and quickly hits Marr. Nothing doing downfield. Marr coming back to Lee, who has to chase it down. She gets Trope underneath. Lee cutting up line. A couple of defenders in the area, and that one knocked away. Looks like Lee might be calling foul. And that's one of those plays where Lee certainly not happy with the contact, but it feels like a dangerous throwing into that traffic. Really putting a couple of players from Texas in a very tough spot.
I agree. That's not an easy open lane where you know that the play is going to be made. Lee's an excellent receiver, but with a lot of coverage there.
I was running, I maintained my line for the disc, and the contact impeded me from making play. Well, I didn't see where she was or how she moved, so I don't know if she was like standing there. I don't know. What is the rule?
Well, each player has the right to their own space, right? So I guess the rule would be if she was there first, you're coming into her.
I really don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
you can come to us.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so the observer ruling it was not a foul, she was there first, okay? Yeah. Hold on, Caitlin, we're going to start with a check here. Okay? Yeah, you just tap the ground. All right, 20 seconds.
So an insightful listen in on that conversation, as it was determined that the Texas defenders were just holding their own territory down at the front of the end zone, and so no foul called.
You don't often hear such measured, thoughtful discussions of a contact play like that. Speaking of discussion, some discussion about whether or not this disc was up as it came to O'Connell.
We certainly don't have the best viewpoint from where we are, but it looked to be down to my eyes. Hopefully we can take another look and see for sure. Fortunately off camera on that replay. But it does look like it's going to be a turnover. Be a short field for Dartmouth. Marr to pick up. Lee coming across. And then a nice inside throw to find Trope. So Dartmouth, they get the break right back. They're back up by 4.
Just a dagger of a pass there from Lee. Just sharp and incisive there.
And we are going to throw to a quick interview with Melee's Caroline O'Connell.
Getting to play at Nationals on our home turf is super exciting. It's definitely a different dynamic. Obviously, we're coming from home, but we really are excited about having lots of people here to support us. We have lots of alumni who get to see us on our home turf, and that's really exciting for us and for them to get to see us. I think they're really excited about that. I think it's a really big deal that our seniors are skipping graduation this weekend. It really shows that they really care about this team ultimately. A lot of parents are a little bit more upset than our players are, but obviously this is still a great experience and it's definitely worth it, and I know that none of our seniors had to really consider missing Nationals to go walk the stage.
So a tough spot for some of these seniors on Melee, not being able to walk for their graduation. I think we might have a little bit more on that later in the broadcast. You mentioned O'Connell mentioned rather, the support from the hometown crowd. They'll certainly need to feel that throughout this game if they're going to claw their way back down 7-3. They'll get to send the offense out there. Dom Sutherland back on the field. One of those seniors who was unable to walk this weekend.
Which would you pick, Dan, competing at Nationals or graduation?
Well, Katie, I was not competing at Nationals for my college graduation, and I still did not walk. So that's a pretty easy decision for me. Would certainly pick the ultimate action over that. But, you know, graduation, as O'Connell kind of alluded to, a little bit more for the parents than the students a lot of times. And My parents didn't care, so I didn't care a whole lot. As we see Texas taking a shot to the end zone, too far for Berrigan.
Excellent run there from Berrigan.
What about you, Katie? That probably a little more of a pressing question for you as someone who did make it to nationals, I believe, in your senior year.
Yes, I did get to do both. But looking back now, graduation was far less exciting than competing at nationals was. Beautiful mark there from Berrigan. Great pressure to immediately get the disc back for Texas.
Good defense all around from Melee on that far sideline, and they get to pick back up as a result. Sutherland holding the disc. Casual little forehand flick into the end zone, and that works. So Melee impressive defensively after the turn. They get it back and they get the hold.
Nice hold for Texas, and some of that casualness may be necessary. Try to bring some of that swagger back to this Melee team. You know, this team plays well when they're playing fast and loose, and this incredible mark there from Berrigan, and a nice heads-up block.
Yeah, Sierra Jensen with that defensive play. And then you see the little dink into the end zone from Sutherland to Wood. And we have a timeout called on the field. I think Texas hoping to maybe get at least one more break before the half. Try to get themselves in better position to come back in the second half. And as always, this timeout is brought to you by DiscStore.com. They're offering $30 full sub jerseys, as long as you get your order in before May 31st and use the promo code Ultiworld. So be sure to take advantage of that offer from our sponsors at Disc Store. They've done a lot to help us be able to bring you this live coverage of college nationals.
Got to tell you, after a long day of reporting, a fresh full sub jersey sounds pretty nice right now.
Oh, and a roller pull goes between the legs of Trope and goes all the way into the end zone. So Dartmouth will start pinned deep. Great cut from Verju, though, to get over that reset, and they are going downfield with a big backhand looking for Trope. Swatted away at the last second by Harrison. Nice defense by the Melee star to rob Trope of an opportunity to catch that one.
Great block from Harrison, and we'll see the disc also roll pretty deep into the Texas end zone as well. We're going end zone to end zone already in this point, and it's only a few seconds old.
So as a result of that roll, a long way to go for Texas, trying to fight their way upwind. Really in desperate need of a break before halftime.
Texas moving the disc quickly, pushing this pace here.
Harrison with a great catch. Awkward over the shoulder, but she adjusts to make a great grab. Melee near midfield.
Harrison with few options and a nice calm inside there.
It looks like we might have a stall call. O'Connell unaware of it. And Melee thinks they've scored. That is not the case. We have a call back at the throw. 2 throws ago to Harrison. And that is a deflating feeling. You see finally the realization by Malone.
The players and the fans are crushed, but unfortunately that is the nature of Ultimate. Sometimes a lot of drama can happen, and it doesn't exist anymore if a call was made 15 passes beforehand.
Looks like it will be an uncontested stall, so it is a turnover from Texas. Harrison unable to pull the trigger in time. The score comes off the board, and Verju unleashing a big forehand right away for Trope, and that is on the money. Trope able to run it down for the score. Dartmouth's 2 of their 3 big stars connecting for the hold to take half.
More impressive play from Versu again and again. Watching them play, huge hucks like this just makes me feel a little nihilistic about the game, Dan. What do all those defensive efforts matter when a player like Versu can pick up the disc, make a throw like that to a player like Trope who can catch it like that? What chance do you have?
At times, it really does feel unfair that those two get to be on a team together. They were both very impressive in the first half for Dartmouth as they are out to an 8-4 lead over Texas. We're going to take a break for a halftime, but be sure to tune back in for the second half as both these two teams' pool play action comes to a close.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
Every time we cut the prices, we play better. Let's go take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Welcome back to the field here. We're at halftime between Dartmouth and Texas. Dartmouth with a dominant performance in the first half. Well deserving of their 4-goal lead. Really the star power at the top of the roster, just a little bit too much for Texas to stop, I think, Katie.
Yeah, we expected a different game from the Dartmouth team. I think we expected them to rest on their laurels, and instead Dartmouth has shown us exactly how they earned those laurels and that they're going to keep earning them game after game. However, in this halftime, we may see something a little special from the group of Texas seniors who have opted to forego walking for graduation for nationals, and now they get their moment.
Yeah, you see some mortarboards out there. They go for a walk to their home crowd. You see Amberly Malone, Domenica Sutherland, a couple of the players out there. Shannon Ray as well, and Katya Krupa.
This is absolutely the graduation moment I'm sure their parents hoped for.
And Alana Hughes out there as well. You know, not your usual graduation ceremony, but it seems like a pretty good blend for a group of seniors that have put their heart and soul into helping build this Melee team.
This is a much more memorable graduation moment. And I think it can be more meaningful to have a graduation ceremony like this with the players you've spent so many years building a team with, rather than marching alphabetically, you know, particularly at a large university like Texas. The chances you know the person next to you are low.
Yes. And they also don't have to wait the 2 to 3 hours for the whole ceremony to go by. You know? They're able to have their cool moment in just a few minutes there. And I'd actually like to take this moment to shout out my sister, Sarah Prentice, who also just graduated from the University of Texas with her master's degree in geology this weekend. As a result of my being here, I was unable to watch her do that, unfortunately, but very proud of her and her accomplishments. The much more successful and intelligent of the Prentice siblings is my sister.
You are also foregoing a graduation to be here.
Indeed, not quite to the same extent as the Texas players, so definitely a big shout out to them, a big moment for those players that have worked so hard on the field and in the classroom. And really just a cool moment for them as we see them mime the walking process. Head coach Kayla Ramirez handing out fake diplomas, shaking the hand of her players. Her co-coach Shireen Raby out there as well. Katie, you said you went to both your graduation and to nationals. Would you maybe preferred something like this experience here? We get to do both all in one, graduate on an ultimate field.
I would have preferred this much, much more, though my graduation was as hot as it is today. So I don't know if I would have felt more comfortable. But those many years ago, this would have been much more exciting. You know, we've seen this before at past nationals, just with the nature of when this weekend, you know, this happening over Memorial Day every year. There are schools who will always have their graduation on Memorial Day. I remember Whitman, a group of Whitman seniors did not go to their graduation and opted instead to compete at nationals, I believe in 2015, and made pre-quarters, and that was an emotional moment for them. You know, and these teams have to make this choice, these seniors, every year for different programs.
You always think of nationals as a very special weekend for the whole ultimate community, really. And that's not one of the moments you generally typically think of as something that makes it special, but a moment there that I'm sure those Texas players will remember for a long time. We should now just be a few minutes away from the start of the second half. So we turn our attention back to ultimate. Katie, do you see any way back for Melee in this game?
Is it not exciting if I say no?
Not as exciting as many would like, I don't think.
You know, my nihilism continues in this game. I think we will see a moment in this nationals when Dartmouth is challenged and pushed to do something they don't want to do. I do not think we have seen that moment yet. You know, as long as you've got an escape hatch of Versu cutting deep, anytime that Lee feels the need to throw it deep, and no one unable to guard them downfield, we are going to see Dartmouth be able to close out points and close out games dominantly, the way that they have so far in pool play.
And even when Versu isn't out there, Claire Trope often has, and she's not a bad second option to have downfield.
Yeah, Trope, a very different style of player, but no less dangerous. Trope and Versu teammates on Riot last year. And I think that probably adds to their connection.
You would certainly think it would help with chemistry. And Katie, I think the play that was maybe most emblematic of the difference on the scoreboard was that play where Caitlin Lee threw it downfield and what you described as a reset that was about 50 yards downfield that Versu leaped up over their defender to make a great catch. And it almost does feel that given that they are going to make plays like that, doesn't it? That, you know, even a high stall punt essentially ends up being caught downfield for a huge gain. And that's just a luxury that so many teams in the division simply don't have, and that's why Dartmouth has been such a dominant team over these last few years.
Yeah, I think we've tried to craft narrative and find storylines from this Dartmouth team over the past 4 years that Versu has been competing with Dartmouth. And I think the biggest question, regardless of what happens in the rest of this weekend, is what this team will look like next year. What shape will they take? What lessons will they have taken from Versu and Versu's 4 years on the team? And how they can carry that into wherever they want to play in New England next year.
And we're getting a good look at that play we just mentioned. But yeah, this Dartmouth team, already owners of back-to-back national championships. A third would certainly solidify the status of dynasty and maybe punctuate what has been the most dominant program in the history of women's college ultimate.
Maybe.
Certainly.
Stanford had a hot run there for a long time.
Certainly.
I know we're young, but we can't forget our history here.
I think Dartmouth would have to be in the conversation at the very least.
I'd agree.
Winning 3 straight, and particularly with how dominantly they did win those first couple. They haven't been quite as strong this regular season, but have certainly been very impressive so far this weekend. The second half is back underway.
Texas setting very flat marks, trying to prevent some of these deep shots we've already seen from Lee and from Trope.
Yeah, the deep game has been lethal for Dartmouth. And Trope trying to knife that one around through the zone, but not quite enough air on it.
Trope has had some pretty harsh angles on her throws so far in this game in both directions, making those really tough discs to grab for her receivers.
When you put that much edge on a disc, you really have to be precise with where you put it. It doesn't give your cutter any adjustment time. And even for a player as talented as Trope, it's hard to zero throws like that in sometimes. So Texas will have a break chance on this first point of the half. O'Connell with a nice around throw to find Harrison. And Sutherland uncorking a big backhand, looking for Berrigan downfield. That one spends a little too much time in the air. A pair of Dartmouth defenders making sure it's not caught.
You know, Dan, we could set a drinking game here with our Nalgene's of every time Sutherland gets the disc in her hands, if that disc is going more than 10 yards, you've got to hydrate.
Not a bad idea out in this heat, Katie. And this one floating, Sutherland in the area. Not quite able to get the block. She's a little blind to it, chasing it from behind, and Tornquist able to make the catch. Disc in the hands of Trope now. And Trope going for a big backhand downfield. That one's over everybody. Harrison, the nearest to it.
Harrison proving herself to be a great deep defender so far in this game on some of those shots. Despite her height, really getting up with good timing there to block a lot of Dartmouth's deep bids.
And Harrison was a runner-up for the Ultiworld Breakout Player of the Year a season ago. Hasn't quite had the season that I think some of us expected her to have, but still has, in this game in particular, shown you how athletically gifted she is. See O'Connell getting the disc back after a foul on the throw from Lee. And Caitlin Lee nearly getting the block. O'Connell just able to beat her to it. Reset to Wood and the swing to Sutherland. Nice gainer to Harrison. Has Texas just short of midfield.
Nice movement from Texas in this point. We're seeing a lot more patience and care with the disc here as I jinx them.
Yeah, patience turning to stagnation there a bit. Last second throw into the middle of the field is knocked down to the ground. Dartmouth coming right back. Lee turns for the reset tomorrow.
Excellent switch there from O'Connell and Sutherland. Berrigan, my apologies, in the backfield here.
I just have to say, I'm glad I was not the first one to confuse those two on the field, so thank you for that, Katie. As we see Dartmouth marching down the field now, disc in the hand to Tornquist. And Caitlin Lee burns Berrigan downfield in a big layout for the catch in the end zone.
Excellent play there from Lee. Lee, who her teammates call Grinch. It's Caitlin Lee's nickname, and just found out this weekend that Grinch actually has a pet dog named Max.
Taking another look, Lee just gassing past the Texas defense. And a great bid to reel that one in.
You see the turf flying up as Lee leaves her feet to make that play. It's not the outcome Texas was expecting in this game. Several chances there to score and just couldn't quite close.
It's been an issue for them throughout this game. So still a long way back for Texas. A break there certainly would have helped a little bit. We'll get a little update on the weather. Up to 88 degrees. Wind pretty low though, 5 miles per hour. I think we saw, the highest that I saw was around 13, 14 yesterday. So pretty steady as far as things have gone out here in Round Rock. But that temperature definitely creeping up. Dartmouth definitely going to want to get this game over with as quickly as possible as they start to look forward to their future games in the bracket.
First with the pull here to Texas O-line. O'Connell back out on the field again. O'Connell's perhaps played the most points so far in this game.
And she's a steady presence for them out there. Really nice compliment to Sutherland. She's not quite as aggressive with her throws. Has nice break throws to help facilitate the offense. You see one there. She's able to hit Harrison with a bigger round. But Harrison's throw too low. And nice defense from Dartmouth downfield. So we'll get a look at a D-line possession.
Nice flat mark here from Texas, trying to prevent throws just like this.
And Verzu, how did they make that catch? Over O'Connell, I genuinely have no idea. Verzu pointed for the throw, completely guarded. This goes up and just gets it.
I have absolutely no idea, Dan. I have absolutely no idea.
It looked at first glance that it had been caught by O'Connell, but then Verzu emerged from the pile with the disc in their hands. So now Dartmouth within reach of a break. Disc back in the hands of Verzu again, directing traffic. And the throw to the end zone is successful. Bushman makes the catch. Dartmouth adds separation to their lead.
Verzu pointing and then having that play happen just with some, it's like Verzu is prophesizing what is going to happen on these offensive points and then wheeling them into reality with their incredible play. As we see this grab again, the disc is in O'Connell's hand, but somehow Verzu makes the play so dominantly, O'Connell makes no call.
Yeah, it's my job to put words to what you see on the field, and that play left me without any words, at least for a minute there.
Just stunned. I feel as though my memory of what has happened has been photoshopped out of my mind by Verzu's utter skill and reach in that moment.
Yeah, as great as Verzu is, O'Connell, a pretty tall player in her own right, and seemed to have the positional advantage to make that play.
O'Connell only 1 inch shorter than Verzu. That is a tall matchup.
So now Dartmouth really starting to pull away after that break. We're under 10 minutes to go before we get to soft cap. You see Claire Trope with the roller pole stopped on the sideline by Krupa.
Texas again moving quickly in the start net zone.
Oh, and that one pops up in the air, but Sutherland able to react and make the catch. And then the easier attempt from Sutherland is dropped.
Looks like Sutherland moving a bit too fast, trying to gain that momentum, and that momentum came back to bite Texas. They'll have to play hard defense here to keep Dartmouth from another point.
Jennifer Kahn dropping that one back to Tornquist. We have play brought to a halt. Tornquist, as we mentioned earlier, rookie, but brings high-level club experience, having played with Washington, D.C. Scandal prior to joining college. So the pipeline of exceptional high school talent continues for Dartmouth. We see a block, but maybe a foul. Disc swatted quickly after release of the throw. Carolina Bayonne got the hand to it.
Like your hand after you, like not after your hand, but like after you. She released
So after the release?
I
think she hit my hand as I was releasing it.
But I also hit the disc down. Like.
Yeah. But there's no foul call over here.
No, it's on the throw. Yeah.
On the throw.
Contesting it because it was after the release.
Okay. Observer ruling. No foul. So it's tournament's going to be a check.
Always so good to be able to hear those conversations. You know, sometimes we're left in the lurch when you're not out on the field. And it's good to hear those discussions as the players and observers come together to figure out exactly what occurred. So Texas will take back over after the block from Bayonne.
Bayonne also a freshman on the Texas team. Talking about other impactful rookies on the field right now.
Nice grab from Bayonne there as Texas enters the Dartmouth half of the field, and Sutherland I'm not sure if she was unwinding for a bigger throw there and it came out awkwardly. It didn't look like she was looking for the target on the sideline. Either way, it ends up out of bounds, incomplete. It's another turnover from Texas.
Texas playing nice reset defense here, really challenging those around throws from Dartmouth and not making those uplines easy for this team.
Dartmouth trying to jam it down the sideline. Ing is called out, though. It'll be Sutherland to pick up for Texas. Sutherland taking her time, letting her offense get set before she picks up. Nice mark from Ing. Sutherland looking to the end zone, swatted up in the air by Trope, and then bobbled and dropped by Bayonne. Would have been a great end of the point for an impressive individual performance from Bayonne, but unable to make that catch after the block from Trope.
Wow, and a great second attempt there from Bayonne. Tough to bring that windy disc in. Bayonne on the mark again. Disc is up. Trope comes down with it. Above two defenders, some discussion, but Trope's got the disc.
Yeah. That seemed a little awkward. Sutherland and Trope were clearly discussing, but it didn't look like there was ever an official call made to bring play to a halt. But Trope going up and making the catch.
Sorry, yeah, I meant to just straight up apologize. Yeah,
We're good, great.
We're good.
So we're on no one. Y'all are good.
So you hear from Sutherland there. I don't think she meant to bring play to a halt based on what she said there. Just wanted to apologize to Trope for the contact. Trope airing out a big forehand to the end zone, but that's intercepted in the end zone. And then swatted away by Keon. A furious exchange of turnovers there. Dartmouth has it in the red zone.
Pace being pushed here. Nice heads up from Keon and looking for that up line. Without some of the bigger names for Dartmouth on the field, we see what Dartmouth's offensive system could look like without those big cheat codes, and we're seeing a lot of those up the line movements. They want that strike cut. They want to try to get that power position over and over and over again. Dartmouth doing a good job of pressuring those, and that's how we've seen a lot of these turns come through.
Sutherland able to squeeze that one through to Bayonne. And now Texas has flipped the other side of the field. Krupa coming back to Sutherland. And Wood able to find a pocket of space. Nice grab by Bayonne as Texas continues to prod through this Dartmouth zone. Sutherland looking for a reset. Not exactly sure what the delay was about there, but Sutherland certainly had the disc for a long time.
It almost looked like play stopped because downfield there was so much stagnation, but that may just be tired legs. As Texas tries to work through this zone.
Impressive second attempt catch by Sutherland, but then her throw to Bayonne is dropped. A point of highs and lows for Bayonne.
Asked to do a lot for this team in her first year with Texas. It's an easy, unmarked huck from Trope. And a long point is ended very quickly for Dartmouth, adding another point to their leaderboard.
Pizzo to Trope gaining most of the yards, and a quick, easy dish from Trope for the score. The short points have not been in high supply. You see the drop from Bayonne. Take another look at the huck to Trope.
Easy huck and just unmarked there in the end zone. Lots of separation for Tornquist.
And you kind of felt that if Dartmouth was going to get the break on that point, that it would likely be a Trope-Tornquist connection that capped it off, as indeed was the case.
That long point eating up a lot of time in this game. Got about 2.5 minutes left till soft cap.
And we have a timeout called by Texas as they look to regroup for the final minutes of this one. With that, we'd like to remind you that DiscStore.com sells more than just discs. For live viewers only, get your next custom full sub-team jerseys for just $30 each with the promo code Ultiworld. Email jerseys@discstore.com to receive this exclusive offer that expires on May 31st. So, Katie, I hate to say this, but I can't quite see a comeback from Texas here at the very end of this game. So that means Dartmouth will go 4-0 through pool play, have blown out just about every team that they've played. They came in here as the 5 seed. Do they feel like title favorites to you right now?
They feel like finals favorites to me. You know, I've got to bring up UNC is the other team that so far has looked pretty untouchable in pool play. We've seen Ohio State take their licks. UCSD actually also pretty dominant so far in pool play. So while this performance so far for Dartmouth makes them a favorite for the final, I'm still excited to see them play UNC, hopefully in that final or before then.
Sure.
However the cards shake out.
And Katie, you got a good look at both those teams at Northwest Challenge. Do you feel like both those teams are even improved this weekend? Dartmouth kind of had a rough weekend out in Seattle, looking like a completely different team out here.
Yes, Dartmouth has absolutely improved since Northwest Challenge. UNC looking sharp, polished, composed at that Seattle tournament and are continuing that trend now.
Texas will not be a factor in the bracket. So they will fall to 1-3 with this one, but they're going to try to enjoy these last few points. Looks like that may have been a turnover. Yes, Jasmine Anand unable to hold on to that one.
Nice movement already from Dartmouth. Verzu faking the deep shot. Not something we've seen them do often so far.
There haven't had to be a whole lot of times where they've had to holster, but probably wisely doing so on that occasion. Verzu getting the disc back, looking downfield as the soft cap horn blows. Great upline cut from Lee, making it easy for Verzu on that throw.
Some great help defense downfield from Texas, making this harder for Dartmouth than they were hoping for.
And Verzu to the end zone. Looks like there was some confusion defensively from Texas, no one attacking that, but the throw a little bit too low for Cindy Yuan to make.
O'Connell throwing high over the hands of Verzu, who's trying to make that throw harder.
Should have been an easy interception for Lee, but pops up in the air. It's a turnover anyway. Now Verzu is completely unmarked on the far sideline.
Verzu getting nice power position. However, Dartmouth throwers making it hard for the Dartmouth receivers to end this point. Everyone has the same goal, but these throws up this open line have been shooting harder and further than cutters are able to run down or even make a play.
Maybe a little antsiness from Grace Alston, who'd done so well to get so open to that fourth side, but not able to complete the pass to the end zone. But O'Connell throwing into traffic hits the legs of Marr for another turnover.
Marr picking up again, looking immediately to Verzu.
And Verzu looking to Lee, cutting strike, and Lee with another layout catch goal. Verzu asking a lot of Lee. Maybe didn't want to have to do that much this late in the game, but a nice play by Lee.
I was going to say another tough pass from Dartmouth, but you've got a player like Lee now trying to make that play, willing to make that play to reach 12-4 for Dartmouth. Texas scoreless so far in the second half, despite their best efforts.
Verzu stooping down to make that throw. Kind of a trademark Seattle throw, that low forehand. A couple of teammates of Verzu's on Riot, the Titcomb sisters, have really mastered that throw, and Verzu showing that they have perhaps learned a little bit from their teammates.
Yeah, that low inside lane, not seen there, but the low inside flick has been a signature throw for Riot for a long time, and Verzu certainly showing they've picked up a few tricks from many years on Riot. Notably, I believe still unclear whether Verzu will be playing another season with Riot or not. Trope actually moving to Brute Squad this year. As if Brute Squad needed more talent.
Certainly not. Maybe Trobe can make a difference in those back-to-back universe point losses in the championship, though, and she'll be teaming up with her other Dartmouth teammate, Caitlin Lee, out there.
Trobe with the pull here. Pull sitting in wind gust and tailing just out of bounds. O'Connell on the field again for Texas. I don't remember the last time that she took a point off for melee here.
It has been a little while. O'Connell, a junior on this melee team, so she should be back next season. Will have to take probably an even bigger role as players like Sutherland move on from the program. That throw from Jensen, not finding the intended target, but finding Wood, and then Wood to the end zone. Texas getting on the board. Summer Wilson with the goal. Not exactly how Texas drew it up, but it worked all the same. They get their first goal of the second half.
There's some nice movement from Texas there. Dartmouth setting a similar zone, but looking not quite as prepared to defend these lanes. A nice throw there. Looked like it was intended for someone else, but it ended up in a receiver's arms regardless, and I think Texas will take that.
They certainly will. Nice to get on the board. You never want to be shut out in a half. And Texas has deserved that, I think, with their effort in the second half. They've, despite the tough sledding against such a talented team, have not ever shown any signs of giving up in this one.
The score has not reflected their efforts, certainly. We'll see Verzu coming back out for the O-line point here near the very end of the game. We felt fairly confident going into this game that Dartmouth would not play their big stars. And once again, in a completely different way, Dartmouth has proven us wrong. Dartmouth proving us wrong feels like it's been a theme of the past 4 seasons of Verzu competing, as well as this season. We will see another star-studded point here for Dartmouth as they try to close out this game.
Caitlin Lee out there with Verzu as well. Katie, you've followed Dartmouth through all of pool play. How many times have Dartmouth put all 3 of the big 3 out there, Trope, Verzu, Lee? Have you seen any of that this weekend from them?
I think there have been a couple closer points where they may have stacked the line, but they really do trust these veteran players to execute with the rest of their line. Some confusion there from one of those big 4, Tornquist, along with Ing, colliding together to not get that disc.
So Texas coming back the other way. And that's kind of a scary thought, I think, for Dartmouth's chief title competitors, that they can send out that to make a basketball equivalent to the death line that the Golden State Warriors have, where they have all of those superstars on the field at once. They really haven't even needed to do that much and still have been absolutely dominant this weekend.
Marr making a great play there to get possession back for Dartmouth. Marr, not a player you'd necessarily put on the Dartmouth kill line, but has had a lot to do so far in this game for Dartmouth.
And it's been performances from Marr that have perhaps allowed them to not have to overly rely on those big names.
Marr, as well as Pizzo and Ritterband, also very consistent for this Dartmouth team.
And all 3 have had nice games here against Texas. Verzu looking to bend a big, floaty forehand to the back corner. Tornquist chases it down. Exciting finish here from Dartmouth, but that one is going to be called just out of bounds. Tornquist.
A surprising call from first pass of me seeing that play. Hopefully we'll be able to see a replay at some point, but
Tornquist really giving all she had to run that one down.
Verzu launching that throw the minute they saw Tornquist's hips turn. That was all they needed to let that disc off their hands.
A little bit of contact at the point on that throw from Wood, and a bid late to try to save it is unsuccessful.
Some discussion at the throw. The disc will come back.
I think Wood arguing that the contact on the throw was before she'd released the disc, and it looks like there won't be much argument from Hannah Marr. Wood swinging it to Berrigan. Gives it right back to Wood. Oh, and that one dropped right on the goal line. Alana Hughes unable to make the grab. Dartmouth has a short field. And that one's stuffed at the point and then caught by Alston in the end zone. Some pinball action, but Dartmouth gets the goal.
What a crushing final moments there from a Texas drop. The highs and lows. The low of dropping that disc and the high of that incredible point block. And then immediately to have Alston, her reaction time to grab that disc as it hit her.
Again, not how Dartmouth drew it up. They will take the goal and we take another look at the near goal from Tornquist. Very, very close there. I'd like maybe a slow-mo replay if possible. First, we'll take a look at the goal. The pinball action, disc finding its way to Alston, who is ready for it.
And upon replay, I'm glad we're seeing this again. It does look like once she gets control of this disc, her first point of contact with the field.
That second step, Katie, definitely on the line. The question, I think, is if that back toe was still down on the ground when she caught the disc.
I think that's the case. I think she still had contact with the ground in the end zone, holding that disc. A tough call for the observer to make. Dartmouth scored that regardless in a much more exciting manner. I'm glad that we got that moment.
Yes, this way we get to have both moments, right? So Dartmouth, after that goal, now one away from ending their pool play action by going 4-0. Another dominant performance over Texas. An awkward floaty one, but O'Connell able to make the catch. And a layup grab by Krupa. Nice play by the Texas senior.
Excellent save there. Dartmouth in person downfield. Not something we've seen often from particularly this line for Dartmouth. Texas still having trouble getting some opportunities downfield.
A stumbling grab from O'Connell. Impressive coordination to reel that one in.
O'Connell and Krupa with nice give and go movement here for Texas.
O'Connell fouled on that step around. Looks like instead of contact, they'll fully bring play to a stop. Yeah. Pizzo taps it back in. An inside throw attempt from O'Connell, knocked away by Trope. And now Trope running downfield, unguarded. Pizzo not willing to pull the trigger.
That one will bounce off of Dartmouth receiver's hands there.
Margaret Nichols unable to make the catch. It was a tough one off the fingertips. So Texas retakes possession. And O'Connell will want that one back. An uncontested reset. Just getting away from her, sailing out of bounds.
Dartmouth at midfield with the chance to close out this game.
Disc is in the hands of Keon. He will get it off the sideline to Pizzo.
So the nice inside there, but Dartmouth can't quite close it.
No one from Dartmouth able to fill in that window that Pizzo was able to find a throw through. Krupa catches for a big gain, and she's going to show off her throwing ability. Looking downfield, and the attempt at the catch comes up just short.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot there from Krupa. I like that risky shot there, even as it tailed.
And Wilson went full extension to try to save that one, a little banged up as a result. Going to come off the field for an injury substitution. Maybe just had the wind knocked out of her. Take another look at that big bid attempt. Couldn't quite make the catch. And with Wilson's substitution now out on the field, Dartmouth will elect to make a switch as well. Caitlin Lee coming on field for Keon. As we approach the end of this game, Dartmouth looking to break to end it. Looking downwind. Some contact on Lee as we try to make that catch, but no foul called. So Texas will take back over with a short field. It's O'Connell hitting Harrison wide open underneath, and Harrison with the drop, giving it right back to Dartmouth. Pizzo looking for Trope downfield. That one floating nicely, allowing Trope to run onto it. And Dartmouth is within striking distance of the goal and the win. Trope to the end zone for Lee, pass to Bidding Harrison. That's a Dartmouth goal. That will do it. Dartmouth, easy street against Texas. They win 14-5.
Yet another dominant performance from Dartmouth. Nearly the same score that they took Carleton out with. Just ease and trust there from Trope looking for Lee. Lee casually tosses the disc aside, and Dartmouth takes, well, they already had the pool with ease, but puts another win behind them.
A little exclamation point on Dartmouth's pool play performance. They sure do look sharp. They really look like title contenders. Excellent pool play performance from them, and now they get to pass the pre-quarters round straight into quarters. See both teams go through the high five line, and just want to take a brief moment to remind you that our live streaming coverage of the college championships is brought to you in part by Oak Creek Ultimate. From full sub jerseys to screen printed t-shirt, there is no type of decoration or product that Oak Creek doesn't offer. Don't have time to collect orders? Let Oak Creek build your group a team store and let them do the work for you. Reach out to them at sales@oakcreekultimate.com and get your order started today. So an impressive performance from the very beginning of the game from Dartmouth. They topped Texas 14-5 to emphatically end their run through pool play. It was a good one. We've got one more round live here on Ultiworld. We got a pre-quarter game coming for you. But for now, for Katie Reynolds, I'm Daniel Prentice. Thanks for tuning in.